everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crastinators podcast.
Welcome to the podcast with me and you. And you and me and no one else.
Welcome to the perfect cast. It's the number one best solo podcast on this whole channel.
Welcome to DigiBro's Decompression Chamber, the only depressing shit suicide.
Welcome to Monkey's Countdown to Suicide, baby. One episode to go.
Welcome to Endless Chess Countdown to Suicide. It came before Monkeys. It's the real one.
Welcome to the Suicide Squad.
This podcast has already killed itself.
This
and
podcast just won the Oscar for best makeup. We did it, boys!
Yay!
Yeah. Damaged. Hashtag damaged. So yeah, today it's a PCP episode about suicide.
Hooray!
Suicide's cool, and everyone here is looking forward to experiencing that sometime in the near future.
It's that brass ring like we're all reaching for.
So, Mumkey, you seemed like you had some idea of what you were doing in this podcast. So why don't you do that?
Oh, okay. I was hoping you would have us introduced because I had a great bit. So real quick, introduce me real quick so I can say my name.
Oh, yeah. I should say everybody's here. We got Mumkey Jones here, everybody.
God damn it. Come on, go. Go. No. Come back to me. I'm going. Come back to me.
Oh.
I got a good meme.
Okay,
Don't come back to me.
We got Hypocrite. Hypocrite's a guy.
What the fuck? I got it. All right. Hi, everyone. Here's my gun. Click. And here we go.
Okay, come back to me. I think I'm ready.
Okay, here's Mumkey Jones, everybody.
I wish that I was dead.
Yeah, I know that song. Oh, it's a good song.
That's how I say hello. Oh, shit. SoundCloud won't turn off when I turned off my phone. God damn it. This bit is a fucking mess.
Lovely use of my wonderful music.
There we go.
DigiBro's here, too. Actually, why am I even continuing? Oh, go ahead. Tom Oliver as well.
I'm not going to do anything gay like with the toy gun to make light of this serious topic.
Yeah. Well, that's very mature of you, you big gay. And also, Endless Jess.
Hey, everybody. Life is a precious gift, and welcome to the Happy We're Here cast. Boy, it sure is great to have good friends, and it's the sun's in the sky, and everything's going to be okay.
Shut up, Morty.
So how about I read the Urban Dictionary suicide?
No.
It's kind of long, but
Who just said no?
Actually, you know what? This top definition is really short. It's suicide in Urban Dictionary. Your way to say to God, "You can't fire me, I quit."
Well, I don't believe in.
It's a shitty definition.
I don't believe in.
I'm bored by this.
All right, here's my intro to this whole thing.
Okay.
When you want to, we're all alive. That's one thing to make,
Unfortunately.
pretty obvious. We're all alive.
For now.
When I think of suicide, it's because I'm sad, and then I think of the things that would happen afterwards. And it usually results in me realizing that I don't want to be that guy that jumps off a bridge and then holds up traffic and everyone's like, oh, fucking dead guy again. Jeez. Like, I don't want to be known as the guy who inconvenienced everyone, so I just usually stay alive. That's generally how it goes.
There's ways to kill yourself without it inconveniencing that many people.
Well, it will inconvenience at least the people in my family. You'll be like, oh no, he's dead. They might have,
if you're still
pain for
giving
a
a
funeral.
shit about what other people think, that's how you know you're not ready to kill yourself.
Well, yeah,
you're not there. You're not at that level. You're just.
I think before we get into the weeds of this argument, we should go around the horn, and each person should say whether they're pro or against suicide, and then maybe a little blurb about why.
Wait. Pro or against suicide as a general concept or for ourselves?
Both.
Okay,
Yeah.
Each one. Yeah.
Digi, why don't you start since you're already talking?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, in suicide as a concept, I understand if you're someone who truly feels that being alive is just not worth it, I can't really blame you for killing yourself. Like, it's gonna suck for probably some people. I'm sure there's some people who could kill themselves and it wouldn't even suck for anybody. There's got to be some people in that bad of a situation.
Like DigiBro, right.
But, because every time they say, think of how it'll hurt your family, it's like, well, there's got to be some people who it wouldn't who like those guys. What do you tell them? Like, I guess do it, because clearly things have gone horribly wrong for you.
How about It's a Beautiful Life, where if that guy killed himself, he would have got the insurance money to feed his family? I mean, sure, it turned out that he had the support of the community that loved him so much, but also killing himself was a pretty good plan.
I mean, let's be frank here. Like, we act as though, sure, life is precious. You can't do anything unless you're alive. If you're dead, you're gone. But at the same time, if we're thinking of this in terms of like the net gain and loss for humanity, there's probably a lot of people who'd be better off dead. And like the world would be better off if we lost. Like, we're kind of overpopulated. We got a lot of dead weight. There's a lot of people weighing down the system,
Did you, bro?
Yeah, so exactly. So, some people, if they got rid of themselves, it's just less of a burden on the rest of us,
There any racial groups you want to mention in this context, Digi? Is that where you're going?
No, I wasn't even implying.
Sure. All right. Okay.
So, Digi, that's your idea of suicide in general, but what about for you specifically?
For me specifically, I have too many things I want to see to kill myself. Like, even if there's moments when I'm like, man, I'm not really contributing anything. I mean, granted, if I killed myself, my family would be absolutely wrecked, and I wouldn't do that to them. But more important, because I care about them. But like, more importantly than that, for me, just like, I'm afraid of dying because I want to see everything. I would rather try to live until, like, with the incredibly pale chance that the technological singularity happens and I get to live forever. I want that. I want to live for all time.
You'll be happy to know that I heard optimistically that not necessarily the singularity, but I heard recently that some experts who I completely forget. I was listening to some podcast about it by some.
It was Neil
guy.
deGrasse Tyson. He figured it out.
It wasn't Neil deGrasse. It was actually Sam Harris's podcast. I forget which episode, but he was saying that. Experts have said that it is possible that we have currently passed the threshold of people who were born today will discover like the de-aging process, and just in our current bodies will be able to theoretically live forever. That was the theory that he was saying. So
I hope so.
I hope that worked out. Yeah.
Because the funny thing about it is that my fear of death is also what makes me feel depressed and suicidal. Like, my fear that all of this will be for nothing makes me like, it's like, why even go on when I know that I'm going to die anyways? Why not just get it over with now? Why suffer all this bullshit for the sake of no progress? Because eventually I'm going to be dead and it doesn't even matter. But if there's that off chance that I could live forever, then then all of it is for something. Like, I can continue to grow and continue to become better for all time, I
feel like we've had this exact conversation maybe on another podcast, but I feel kind of the opposite, in that the idea that eventually I'm gonna die sort of motivates me to do things, and if I could live forever, I would just get super lazy and be sadder, I think. I feel like I would.
Yeah. That's always the thing in anime or fantasy stories. Like, humans have short lives. That's why they get things done, unlike the elves who just fuck around for 1,000 years and nobody cares about them.
That's such bullshit. That's just like
it's total.
That's just humanity, just like jacking themselves off. Like, it's okay that we die. It's not bad that we die. It's totally cool. We're gonna. It's so fucking cowardly.
I completely agree. Every time someone's like, I wouldn't want to live forever because I'd have to watch everyone I know die. And I'm like, you'd make a whole bunch of new friends and get to have all these other deep relationships that go on for hundreds of years. Yeah, well, I mean, eventually...
but if I'm living forever and I have to watch all my friends die, that's sad. But hey, there's a guy living forever who gets to keep them alive for all time in my memory. If I died too, then everyone wouldn't matter.
Yep.
That's deep.
I get it, but it's just I'm sure like living for maybe like 300 or 400 years, that would be great. That would be pretty good. You can get a lot of like skills mastered in that time, and you can be really cool and stuff. But forever is just such a weird concept that I'm sure I would go insane by the end
ultimate solution
of time.
To cure nihilism and cure meaninglessness from the world is for one person, me, to live forever as a historian of all the great people who ever lived. That's how we fix the meaningless void.
Endless mud.
Hippo, what's your view on suicide in general?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, I think it generally people who seem to kill themselves. Actually, I don't know any statistics about that stuff. But if you're a teenager, you shouldn't, because your emotions are running high. And generally, you might not have the best understanding of your situation, and it might not be as bad as you think it is. So people who commit suicide, do it when you're an adult and you know that everything's fucked. And if you really feel like doing it, I guess it's not so bad as long as you set things in order before you go. I guess, like, if you're it's all that because when I think about doing it myself, I've never really considered doing it, but I've always, like, enjoyed just thinking of all the things that would, not enjoyed, but, like, it's just taken up time, like, just thinking of all the things that would happen. Like, if I don't know, I took pills and I was just found, and then people would be like, oh my god, oh no, he's dead. And then they'd have to pay for a fucking funeral, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't want them to do that. I should have left a note saying, don't just throw me outside, I don't care.
Yeah. And Dad would dream of all the different ways to die, each one a little more than he would dare to try.
God damn it.
Are you all done, Gib?
Yeah.
Okay.
But was anybody else being driven insane by the fact that you just realized Hypocrite is just written as Hippokit in his name right now? There's no R.
What the fuck? No!
It's driving me fucking
holy
crazy.
shit.
That's what makes us all finally kill ourselves. This is the last straw.
Even I don't know. I don't even think it has been that for very long. Maybe someone changed it.
I don't know.
Okay, so
I don't.
Jesse, you go next.
Okay. I think that suicide is probably good for most people, just not for me, because living rules, and there's too much stuff that I like here. There's fuck it.
I get it.
I changed my mind. I'll kill myself.
No, living does rule. It's just sometimes it's like,
Well, like,
I want that on a t-shirt. Living does rule, but sometimes it's like,
and then the letters just trail off like to the side of the t-shirt.
Yeah. Or it'll just be like a face, like a face of that emotion.
Well, I've got a great T-shirt idea. Like that text is like centered on like the main chest area, but that it like wraps around the body and just goes all the way to the bottom of the
just
T-shirt
spiraling
your
around
body.
it. Yeah.
But anyways, I guess my point was, I definitely believe that most people are inherently bad and should die and should probably kill themselves. And my dream is to make as many people want to kill themselves as possible. And there's a lot of bad people in the world who are just making it worse for everyone who don't deserve to be here, and most of them are found, like, replying to my Twitter all day.
Oops.
I, on the other hand, I've never been suicidal. I don't think I ever would be suicidal. Even at my most lowest moments and my most depressing moments, I'm always at least happy to be alive, because I know that I'm me and I'm my favorite person, pretty much. I mean, I'm not my favorite person, but I'm pretty good. I feel like I'm, the world needs me. Like, it would be irresponsible for me to not be guiding humanity's hand. I really feel like the human race would be utterly lost without me, and pretty much everyone would just give in to hopelessness and despair if I wasn't here to brighten the world's day. There's just too much stuff that I love here, and there's too many people I like, and I'm one of them.
I'm kind of surprised to hear that, Jesse. I always thought you were at least a little bit of a suicide boy.
Fuck no, that's gay.
No, I think most of us, I mean, I don't know about all of us, but, like, based on things from, like, the fact that we're alive, and also we joke about it more than because, like, I feel like people who would do suicide don't joke about it or talk about it. They just
I don't know.
They just sort of bottle it up, and then suddenly
I'm gonna have
they're
to
dead.
disagree with you there.
We're gonna have to
Hippo.
get into our real suicide boys here in a
Okay.
second.
Yeah.
Monkey, you're our resident real suicide boy. Why don't you tell us what you think?
I've got a bet
I'd
going.
say it's
if
no
he actually
secret.
does it, I make a lot of money.
Oh, do you guys have like a suicide pool going on?
No,
I
just
do.
me. Just me
Oh.
for Mumpky.
Just him
I'm
with
really
himself.
banking
Betting
on
with
it.
yourself? Would you put like money in a box and you only get to open it if I'm dead?
I put money against you killing yourself, so if you have to keep living, at least I've got some money out of it.
Right. That's smart.
I'm absolutely down to put bets on a Monkey when and how suicide pool.
Oh, I think we should. I think we should do that in this podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's any secret that I have a bit of an affinity for suicide. I have a whole YouTube channel called Mumkey's Countdown to Suicide, as Digi, you did that podcast last week in response to Tommy Boy here, and you just had to mention that YouTube channel. And from your one fucking podcast, I gained like 40 subs in that one day on a channel I don't even update. In my book, I have a whole chapter titled Suicide, where I pretty much list my personal philosophy through the lens of that character. But yeah, I think that suicide is a human right, and that anybody, for any reason, if they feel so inclined to end their life, that is their right. Nobody owns their life more than they do. It should be their decision, despite how it makes other people feel. Because, and I said this in my depression video, there's that stigma of, oh, suicide is the most selfish thing a person can do. But I think forcing another person to live an entire lifetime of sadness and suffering just so that I don't have to feel sad about it, about them dying, I think that's the real selfish thing.
It's really, it's just rubs me the wrong way when people are like, oh, you're so, you have to be so selfish to kill yourself, because what about the people you leave behind? We'd be so fucking sad. Well, what kind of a selfish fucking attitude is that? You didn't give a shit about being nice to the person when he was fucking alive, but you're gonna guilt trip him because you might be sad if he decides to fucking end it? Motherfucker, where were you for his entire life when he was sad? Fuck everybody. You're the cowards.
It's interesting because, like, I feel like I would make, I feel guilty if I would to kill myself and make people around me sad, but I would never, like, think to impose that guilt onto someone else, because I don't, I would, even if I do know a lot about their situation, it just seems a bit weird, because...
I mean, I would feel guilty not out of some kind of, like, moral obligation or because society says so. I just feel like my family doesn't deserve that. Like, they did a good job and they were fine, like, I would hate for them to think that somehow it was their fault, because it totally isn't, whereas I'm sure for some people, like, you do want them to, kind of like in Monkey's book, the main character Mario Quintanilla, like, wants his mom to know this was all her fault, like. So I'm sure for some people it's
that is kind of the appealing part of it in, like, a dark, morbid way. Like, I would never want to die ever for any reason. That's why I'm in this. But if I did have to die, I would definitely want certain people to know that it's their fault and that they could have been better to me in life. I want them to live with that guilt. That would be the best part of being dead. Like, if I could haunt my own funeral and, like. just appear as an apparition above my casket, floating over my body with a megaphone, sitting like CM Punk, hovering 2 feet above my body, going, and this is your fault, and you did this to me, just airing my grievances like across the whole funeral parlor. That'd be the best death.
Maybe it could be like a stream or a YouTube video where when I'm dead, play this YouTube video, and it's like at the funeral, and it's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's Horseshoe Finale 3, essentially.
One of us could be the first person in history to write a suicide note via YouTube video.
Yep.
We can't
Scheduled
be the
video.
first, right? Someone's done it, right?
Didn't Amanda Todd do that?
I don't know if anyone specifically, I'm talking like set a video up to upload after you're dead.
That's a pretty good angle. Get a
You
lot of
guys
views.
that's what I was going to do for my
Ad
Monkey
revenue.
finale, and you guys just ruined it.
Well,
That's actually the perfect YouTube video, because you wouldn't have to see the comments.
Yeah. Well, Monkey, you gave us your broad stance on suicide, but what about you personally? Because you seem the most interested in actually doing it out of anybody here.
Yeah. I think the greatest comfort...
That sounded so happy.
Oh, no, you don't understand. The greatest comfort in life is to accept death. Being afraid of death, I mean, I see where Digi's coming from. I used to be in those shoes, and that is horrifying. To like, oh man, what's the point of all this shit if I'm going to die one day anyway? But to accept death and to say, hey, the worst thing imaginable could happen to me, and it won't matter because I always have suicide in my back pocket. I think it's a great comfort to know that I always have that available to me and that I am not afraid of it. So
You got that get out of jail free card you can cash anytime,
yeah,
baby.
that's right.
Well, that's
always
as far as... Sorry,
go ahead. I was going to say, as far as actually doing it, I'm 50-50 right now. I'll toss a coin later and see what happens.
Right. Well, that,
Is it? I was gonna. Well, sorry.
Go ahead, Hippo.
There's a thing about the suicide. There's the one. On the one hand, there's people, right, and you don't want to make them sad. But there's the other thing, which is, the ease of doing it. Because I think about like how easy it would be to kill myself, and I'm like, I would have to do certain things like get something and.
Well, I've got a perfect video for you, Hippo. The top 10 most lethal suicide methods.
Yeah, but I just need something like right next to me. Like if suicide implement was right next to me and it was very easy to do, it would be easier to just do it than to go and get a bunch of pills or a gun or a noose.
Like, I don't even want to go to the bank, let alone like set up some elaborate mousetrap escapade ending in my death. I think if you have the ambition to kill yourself, then you have the ambition to do anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, really, suicide is as easy as walking off of a building or jumping off a bridge. It's not
Going
really
into
that
a black
hard.
neighborhood, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure,
Oh,
walk into a black
no.
neighborhood and yell a word of choice and see what happens. I don't know.
Any word will do.
Yeah.
Walk into a black neighborhood and yell, "Watermelon isn't even that good."
Anyway,
my
Walk into a
God.
black neighborhood and yell, "Moonlight didn't deserve the Oscar."
Oh no!
and they'll yell, "What the fuck is Moonlight?" I ain't seen that shit.
I saw La La Land.
I heard that movie
All right,
about
well,
a gay nigga. I ain't gonna watch
you're
a movie
done,
about
let's-
some homo dude sucking some dick all day. Shit. Anyway, Mumkey, what scares me about people with a philosophy like yours...
There's
and I
nothing
ju-
more dangerous than a man with nothing to lose.
Yeah,
That's true,
exactly.
that's true.
Well, like, I've always found that hard to deal with because of the fact that you don't give a single fuck about what effect your actions will have. Like, on some level, I know you have enough restraint to be like, well, let me make a cost-benefit analysis. Like, I enjoy being in the PCP. I won't fuck all of them over horribly yet, you know? But you could do it, and you wouldn't care. Because even if everyone hated you and you lost everything, you'd be like, well, I guess now I get to kill myself. Like, it's a win-win.
Digi, I see the basis of your argument, but it harkens back to what my dad would tell me when I told him I was an atheist, and that was, if without God, how do you have a sense of morality, son? And what I say is, well, I mean, just because I'm okay with dying doesn't mean I have no morals. I'm not going to be a dick for no reason.
It's not that I think you have no morals. I just think that you would be more willing to do something amoral.
Well, sure, I would be more willing, but that doesn't mean I'm going to
The
do
real
it.
problem with Mumkey is that he hides behind that mask. And here at the Daily Bugle, we know not to trust anyone who hides behind a mask.
He's
They
a
can
menace.
say anything.
Well, I know we have
Monkey
another...
Jones is a menace. I want pictures of Monkey Jones.
Parker, get in here! Pictures of Mumkey now!
Monkey, you sound relatively, at this point, you sound like you're 50-50, like death is a comfort but not something you're actively seeking. But we do have another suicide boy here who maybe is even further down the line than you. Tom, you want to tell us about suicide?
Okay. Well, I think suicide is totally okay. I think anyone who vilifies it is an asshole, or at least completely misunderstanding the point. It's like we kind of touched on a lot of the things I was going to say, that like people who say suicide is cowardly, or people who think that suicide is like, you know, like the worst thing you could do, whatever. It's like they're the ones being selfish. It's not you. And we talked a lot about like immortality and stuff, and like did you saying like, oh, I want to live forever. I think if living forever is your antithesis to suicide, you're not actually suicidal, because I can't think of anything worse when I'm suicidal than living forever. That just means subsisting in this hell indefinitely with no expiration. So if you're and like if you think immortality is a good thing, you're not actually suicidal. If you're still worried about what other people are going to think or be inconvenienced, you're not actually suicidal yet. You're not there. You're not deep enough into it, because like I know my family cares about me. I know they'd be devastated if I killed myself, and I cannot bring myself to care enough to put it off the table. Like I'm just like, yeah, you guys would be miserable, but you know what? I'm miserable being alive. So fuck you. I
mean, they'd be
don't
miserable
care.
for maybe like, a year or two, but they'd eventually get over it. Whereas
Yeah.
you would have to suffer for your whole life.
I
so-
gotta suffer for another. I mean, I have a terribly unhealthy lifestyle for like another 30 years. Okay, you guys have to. You have a year. You get numb to it, and whatever. Maybe someone like starts a foundation or some shit, or they get on the news and get money, or make a movie deal or some bullshit. I don't fucking know. Something gay. I don't care. I don't. Fuck it. Even. Like, oh, like they're sad for a while, but then like they don't have to pay for my sorry ass because I'm still living at home. So like it's a net gain for everybody involved.
Tom, I thought you were like me, wanting to be in a robot body really badly, though.
I do want to be in a robot body.
Because when I say that I want to live forever, I don't mean I want to live forever and it's like this. I mean either I am in. Because the idea is that to live forever, something's got to change, right? Either I become immortal physically, which means that I no longer have the constant fear of anything would kill me, and I can do whatever the fuck I want. If I'm immortal, I don't have to worry about society at all. What can they do? They can't stop me,
Well, they could lock you up, which is, bad.
I mean,
like that
sure.
guy. Remember that immortal guy from Bacano? That one.
Oh yeah, well they
dude
they
who's
cemented
trapped
him in the
jail or
lake.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, or that one kid who was immortal who just got tortured forever,
Yeah.
over and over
Well,
again. That was not fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
fuck that.
okay. There's situations I wouldn't want to find myself in, but
Right.
I'm just saying that like I no longer have to worry about putting food on the table. So like it's not about I have to work a 9 to 5 to live. I'm just going to live. I can do anything. I can just live my
Well,
passions
if
for the
you're-
rest of my life.
If
Or
you're a robot, you still got to put oil on the table.
Have you seen the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray?
I have.
Bill Murray's pretty much immortal in that movie, and it doesn't take long for him to start trying to kill himself.
Yeah,
it
but
was like
then
the
he
first thing he
eventually
tried.
becomes. First of all, he's immortal but living one day over and over again.
Sure.
And like over the course of it, he eventually gets past that part and then becomes like the perfect man. Like by the end of the movie, he's just absolutely he's like the best guy ever.
Wow.
So
Are you guys aware
Undertale
that
sure
movie?
is great.
Are you guys aware that movie is very popular amongst Buddhists because it's like a great encapsulation of their idea of reincarnation to get like better and better and improve yourself and eventually obtain nirvana,
Did
which
not
is what
know
he
that.
does.
I know
Yeah.
that it's in my top 5 comedies of all time.
It's possibly my favorite movie ever, but next to The Room.
the suicide part is my favorite part though, because
That
No,
movie
the
makes
Enlightenment
suicide
is
really
the best
funny.
part. God damn it!
well, not unlike Mumkey, I have like a deep fascination with suicide, like aesthetically. I just
damn
really
it.
love the idea of
Look at this!
suicide.
Look at this suicide tourist over here. Oh, it's so cool. Why don't you go to Hot Topic, kid? Get yourself a Joker damaged
Suicide
backpack
Like,
while you're
like you know how
there.
they have like trans trender? He's like a suicide seer or something.
Suicide Theater! Holy shit! Yes.
I-
Oh my god, that's
I mean,
beautiful.
I was really suicidal when I was a teenager, and I was like, I have a really low threshold for pain, so the idea of actually causing myself pain was the scariest part. Like, I wanted to be dead, but the process of making myself dead was too
Well,
scary,
I would, if I was going to kill the only way I would kill myself would be something that would be instantaneously. Because even if
Right.
I ever get to the point where I'm just like, yeah, I'm definitely going to fucking do it. Like, if I like took some pills and like it took like 20 minutes or something to die, I guarantee you between that 20 minutes, like, fuck, I changed my mind, shit!
Yeah, exactly.
So let me
It-
ask
it
a
would-
question
yeah,
to
yeah.
the entire panel real quick. If suicide was as simple as flipping a light switch and that was it, would you be dead right now? Did you?
Dude, everyone would be dead.
You think so?
Everyone would have done it.
No, I
What?
would encase that fucking shit in
No.
like a don't ever
Yeah, I
break the
would-
glass. I would fucking put it beneath the earth. I would
Yeah, I would
hide it.
make
I
sure
would
to
bury
hide
it.
it.
I would fucking take the treasure map and rip it up and swallow it, so no one could ever find my
Well,
switch.
Well, I don't think it's a switch someone else because it's a suicide.
No,
thing. I
it's just
think
like for you.
No,
Yeah,
I
like-
picture
like
it
it-
as something that I have to hide and hoard from the rest of the world because everyone's against me.
I'm
I
hiding
think
it
if
from
there's-
myself.
Picture it.
I think if there was like a power to just die, like if that was your superpower, the ability to instantaneously not live, the only thing stopping you would be how sad you are, and then that would be kind of scary for me.
Dude,
I
that-
wouldn't want the power to kill myself. It's easier to just get over it and then be happy later.
If I had that switch, I would
actually
fucking.
does exist. Yeah, go on.
I would hit that shit by accident while I was like in a rage throwing bottles around or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's
there's
kind of
that.
the thing. It's like if suicide was as easy as like your mind actually was totally committed to it, it just instantaneously happened. Yeah, I'd definitely be dead by it.
Well, guys, that's the thing. That switch does sort of exist, and it's called a handgun. And the thing is, wherever handguns exist
The
in large
Nintendo
numbers,
Switch.
suicide rates go way up. They go massively
You're saying
up,
we
especially
need to
in like
ban
rural
all
areas.
guns. I knew it.
What? That's what I'm saying. Now, what I'm saying is the ease with which you can commit suicide exponentially increases the likelihood of anyone actually going
that
to do it.
is how I would kill myself. Is a
Are you
handgun or
guys-
some sort of fire?
Yeah.
Are you
For
guys
sure.
aware of suicide in Greenland? The
No.
country Greenland. So Greenland has like a 1 in 5 suicide rate.
Oh my god.
Like
Sounds like
basically,
paradise.
because the thing is that the thing is that like your likelihood to commit suicide goes up not only for the ease of doing it, but also from knowing that other people have done it. Like it's a
okay.
lot like a copycat crime kind of thing. Like when you know that like it's on the table and it's something that can be done, it makes you more likely to think about it, and it becomes
Sure.
in Greenland it became
No, it's
kind of
totally-
an
that totally makes
accidental
sense.
cultural institution.
it became
That's
a meme in
fantastic.
Greenland, and now we're left with this
essentially,
situation.
because in Greenland, I mean, Greenland's a fucking
That's a meme that needs you to die.
Greenland is a frozen wasteland where the days and nights each last, for
Right.
several days and several nights, and like people just lose their mind up there because it's such a fucking. There's just nothing to do except kill yourself, and apparently it's
It's
not
like
that one-
Virginia Beach.
it's not so much that it's a. I think it was that, like, it was 1 in 5 people know someone who's killed themselves, and that's why it spread so much. Is that
Oh, that's
everyone has seen
different.
someone else do it, and so they do it, and the rates are like out of control. Like the country will eventually just all be dead because everyone will have killed themselves. Most popular method, hanging. Incidentally,
Really?
yes, hanging.
Oh,
is-
so it's
Sounds
not
like I
like
can
a
do
doctor
hanging.
coordinated thing. It's just like an epidemic of people doing it on their own. I
Yeah,
thought it was
no,
like
it's just
a euthanasia
tons-
thing.
No, it's just tons and tons of people killing themselves in Greenland.
It's a cultural phenomenon.
It's literally a meme. Yeah. Here, I'll link you. There's a whole fucking Wikipedia article just about suicide in Greenland specifically.
That actually might
how rampant
be
it
part
is.
of the reason why I wouldn't even start to consider it, because like I don't really even know that many people who have died in general.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just-
I think someone like Ben would be fine in Greenland because he'd be like, "Oh, that's a normie meme. This whole killing myself thing. I don't want to. I'm into more
It's
alternative
too-
methods."
dude, he would do that. He'd be
He
like,
would.
he'd
He
be like,
would.
I always thought suicide was cool, but now that I'm seeing
Everyone
all
started
these like
doing it.
all these fucking kids on Tumblr posting about how I'm gonna kill myself
he's
tomorrow.
telling this to
Oh,
his
look at my
therapist.
friend who just killed himself. Like, dude, get over yourself.
And the therapist is like, "No, you shouldn't take your options off the table like that. You really need to keep your choices open." So, can I come in and give my interpretation of this? 'Cause
Yeah,
I
it's
think
your
I have a
turn,
different
buddy.
perspective. Okay. So actually, one interesting thing that you guys didn't mention was that this whole immortality thing, has a certain appeal to it. But the thing is, the universe will end one day. It is like in billions or trillions of years. The heat death of the universe is where the universe is continually expanding, and it will at one point it'll get so wide that all like planets will kind of separate from each other, and they won't be close enough to suns to be able to sustain life. Is what I'm saying. So basically, it looks like the universe is doomed for the life within it. We're in a very temporary position right now. So you could say that everything we do in life has absolutely no meaning whatsoever because it will not
does.
last.
There's no
in
point
the
to any of this.
in the grand scheme, right? So
Yeah,
really,
that's a given.
And in saying that, by the way, I want to say, if you're listening to this, do not kill yourself. Don't listen to this.
I disagree pretty
the
strongly
PCP
with that
I don't
does
endorse
not
this.
take responsibility for you if you kill
wait,
yourself.
Wait
okay?
until at least the age where you can drink, and then maybe you won't need to.
Well, okay. I mean, but that aside, here's my actual
I
thoughts
say don't
on
suffer
suicide.
because Nate wants you to suffer.
I think
Do
Nate
it
was
if you
doing
want.
that for
No,
legal reasons.
I'm saying
more
for
than
legal
for...
reasons. Yeah, that's my
Oh,
only
shut the
interest
fuck
here. Okay, but that out of the way, definitely kill yourself. Okay, but
Nate, I can't believe you would say that. I'm suing you.
I think that, as some people were saying, we live in a society, and when you were born into it, things are given to you. Depending on where you live, there is a legitimate social contract that you are signing into by being alive. And that being said, I think that there is some responsibility to not just kill yourself. I think that you do have a debt that you sort of need to pay. Now, it's not that simple.
So wait.
Don't
So
buy into
we're
this,
being
not
extorted
even a
by
little
society?
bit.
Like we
We
didn't
didn't even
ask
choose to
society
be
to
born,
fucking-
bro.
Look,
I didn't
because
sign on the
I
dotted
know-
line.
Can
Look,
you
I
really
know.
be held to a
Bullshit.
contract
This is a
that
real
you didn't choose
Kaiji
to
situation
sign?
you're putting us in here,
I
Nate.
think
I
this
know,
is
I
the
know.
dumbest thing you've ever said.
Well, hear me out.
Okay.
We were born and we were given lots of stuff by our parents and the society that we live in. And one of those things is
Just imagine an African tribe as Nate is saying all these things.
no. Okay, well that's the thing. It's relative to culture, all right. So I can only speak as to middle America culture. That's all I know about. So if there are places, and that's the thing, if there are places where life is suffering and every moment is agony, you should definitely kill yourself.
Sounds like a matter of personal
Nate,
perspective
Nate,
to me,
No,
buddy.
it's not.
Nate,
no, this
name for me, Nate, a food
Yeah.
you don't like.
Lentils. Yeah, lentils,
Okay,
I guess.
let's say that I order you out of nowhere. I call you up. I say, Nate, I just bought you a lifetime supply of lentils that are going to be shipped to your house once a month forever.
Okay.
I'm taking care of you forever. You can live off of this for the rest of your life. Are you going to feel any gratitude towards me whatsoever?
No. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
The answer is no.
So why, just because someone has given us everything, it may be important to them that they've given us so much. But if I don't care about what I've received, if to me what I've received is in fact a detriment to me, like pounds and pounds, truckloads of lentils coming to your house every fucking week that now you have to deal with because you don't have space for it. You're not going to think, wow, thanks, Digi, for giving me all this food. You're going to be like, fuck you, I hate you, why did you do this to me?
Let me explain, because
I'm gonna kill myself. I
that's
fucking
not
hate
the end of my
lentils.
argument. It's not like I don't think you should be allowed to. It's that I think a lot of people commit suicide, obviously, at their lowest point. And it is an objective fact that their life would improve later on if they continue to live. Now, I'm not saying that's a good enough reason. I'm just saying that this decision they're making is actually against their own best interests, even though it's what they want to do. I don't trust people to make the best decisions about their own life. I simply don't. I think that what should be done for something like suicide is... go on, Gib, if you want to interject.
That's what I was saying about the don't do it while you're a teenager, because you wouldn't really know. I
But see,
still
I don't
think
trust adults
once-
either.
Well, I mean, after a certain age,
Nate,
I could
what's
trust
the
people
cutoff
after they're
age here?
23 or 4 or
'Cause,
something.
I think I don't know the data on this, but I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of suicides happen in old people. And it's usually when you reach the point in your life that you realize it won't get better than this. In fact, it will get worse. Because at some
Well,
point,
see, I
that
have a
tide
plan for
turns.
this. I have a complete plan for everything you're saying right now. Okay, if you want to finish your point, go ahead.
Yeah,
Then I'll
well,
respond.
just that, I think it's one thing to say when you're a teenager, maybe it'll get better when I'm in my 20s. And you're in your 20s and you're like, well, maybe in 5 years I'll be getting better. But then at some point, if things aren't getting better, and in fact they could be getting worse, then you're going to go, is it actually possible? And then even if things do get better, there does come a time when it's like maybe what you wanted to do in life is just behind you. You're just too old. You're too you can't do it anymore, and you've gotten to the point where you're like, I have less time left than I had. If you're 50, you know that there's less time left in your life than what you've experienced so far. And if you think, man, things weren't that great and I don't want to have to deal with more of it, then that's when you're probably the most likely to kill yourself. And so that's why I think it's more common and makes more sense in older people, and I could easily see a lot of us going that way in our old age.
I totally see your point, and I largely agree that you should be able to make those decisions. But see, here's my thing. Here's what I want. I think that it should be treated sort of like a legal case, where you're submitting a request, I want to kill myself, and here is the evidence for why I think that that's an appropriate thing to do. And this is kind of a fantasy, but what that would be based on is, your current living situation, and it would sort of be based on your perception of your own life, because ultimately what this is about is how happy or miserable you are. What I would want is you to be able to prove that, yes, my life is horrible, it has been horrible, there's no, if your brain chemistry is just fucked, and it makes you in pain every moment of your life at an unbearable level, you should absolutely be able to kill yourself. But I don't think that you should be able to just do it at any. Well, okay. I mean, I'm not saying that people don't have free will. I'm saying that it should be treated as a crime because you're doing something that's bad for society as a whole by doing this just on the spur of the moment.
You're the only person I know who's so into bureaucracy that you would bring it to fucking suicide.
It sounds like a really
is
shitty
valuable
light novel
thing
right now.
All right, okay, because I know it sounds like there's a lot of government red tape involved, but ideally what I would want is there'd be like a fucking app that you put against your brain, and it just brain scans your current life, determines where you are, where you're going.
The psychopath, in other words.
Yeah, I was about to say, the simple system, Nate endorses, that's the gayest thing ever, you need to go die.
Yeah,
Anyway, you need to kill yourself. No, seriously, like,
what's your real
the problem
argument
is there are
against
tons of things that people do all the time that are terrible choices, but we're allowed to do them anyways. Like, doing this podcast as someone who's suicidal. Probably not the best idea, but I'm allowed to do it anyway. Should I have to hold a hearing with everybody? Just like, should you be talking about suicide? I don't know if that's the best idea.
just needs
I'm
to
obviously
be-
only talking about one thing here.
There needs to be a foolproof system of determining whether a person's life has value or if they're just an evil sack of shit, and that system
their
should be
YouTube
me. I
comments.
should be the judge, the jury. I should
Dread.
be the arbiter of whether people deserve to die, because I'm the only one I trust to make that decision with anyone's life.
I mean, keep in mind, I'm also basically pro-eugenics, but I'm talking classical eugenics, you know, where we're trying to breed the best of the best and just let the people with subpar genes just be sterilized and weeded out of society, because we don't need them
I
DNA
completely
clogging up.
believe
Talking
that
about-
you do
it's
support that.
Of course.
I don't believe
When you
that's
say
a meme.
classical eugenics,
I'm talking about
Hitler
before
Youth
Hitler. Before Hitler fucked it up. Before Hitler gave it a bad name. You know,
Pre-Hitler
there were
eugenics.
good times. There were good times for eugenics.
Eugenics
you know?
was
Okay.
pretty big in America for a while, back in like the 20s and 30s.
You know, someone was just telling me, maybe it was, I forget if it was you, Digi, that Planned Parenthood was started to like exterminate black people. Is that accurate?
I
Does anyone
don't know about that. I've never heard that.
Someone was telling me that it was started. It was like a eugenics program.
I can't believe
specifically
people
like
want to
curb
defund
the
Planned
black
Parenthood.
birth rate. Oh my god! Yeah.
Nate,
well,
it sounds
that
to
is not-
me-
This, by the way, this is completely non-racial. I just want the best of the best to continue to be the best of the best, and everyone who's shitty just go away. I want
Here,
them to go
Nate,
away.
listen up. It sounds to me like you're trying to develop some sort of standard that somebody has to pass in order to be able to commit suicide. But the
It's a
truth of the
subjective
matter
standard,
is,
but yes.
there's only one thing that every single person who has committed suicide has in common, and that's that they wanted to commit suicide. That's the only standard that there needs to be.
No, I disagree, because I think you can.
How can you disagree with
paint
that?
A
That's
picture.
the only
you can,
thing.
Well, no, okay, that's
monkey-
fine. But I'm talking about how to decide.
But
you can paint a picture.
You
Yes,
can't. You
Jess?
can't.
Yes.
You can't deny that people, most of them, are stupid and don't know what they want.
So, if you
Right,
want to
that's my
kill
case.
yourself, why not?
Yeah, I think
Because
we're,
if
we're
I
undervaluing free
because
will
if
right
I get
now.
entertainment out of
No,
you
I-
being here, Monkey, I'm talking to you specifically, then no one's allowed to kill themselves because I'm the only person who matters.
Yeah, but if we've
See, I
already
don't-
established that there's no objective point of the universe and that it's all pointless, then
I
who
didn't say
fucking
that. That
cares
was
if
me.
you
I mean,
die?
Tom. Tom was talking about free will and all that, but well, Tom, we already have restrictions against you can't do things that hurt other people or hurt other things. We know that suicide does cause damage to other people.
So we should
and
make it illegal
society
to
in
die at
general.
all then.
It already is
You're
illegal.
not allowed to get hit by a
commit
bus.
suicide.
You're not
agree, we
allowed to
should
die
make
of
it
old age.
illegal.
Not allowed to get
I think
cancer.
the only
What?
reason that
No.
suicide is illegal right now is because it was a conspiracy by the church back in the day to keep the money rolling in because everyone was miserable back in the feudal days and they're like, well, Jesus
look,
said you can't kill yourself, so you have to
I'm
keep
open
hitting
to
her and give us money.
I'm open
That's
to an
an interesting
evaluation of the
theory.
law. That's perfectly fine with me. I have no problem with deciding that. But this is what I think. I just think that everyone is a lawyer
think-
soldier of humanity,
I think
and that you
even
have
if
to submit a
Nate-
proposal
Nate-
before you
I-
take that kind of
Even
permanent
if your
solution.
system was implemented and even if
Yeah.
there was an objective like evaluations like your life is good enough that you don't have to die, because I'm pretty sure if I was subjected to this objective measurement, my life would probably be good enough. But it's not about what my life is; it's about how I perceive those things. Okay,
don't-
there's your perceptions are guided by emotions, not by logic. And I think the decision to kill yourself is not technically a logical one because it's not about how your life is; it's about how your life feels, how you
Dude,
feel.
that was the first thing I said. The first thing I said is that it's based on determining how the person views their own life, and if their
Right.
suffering is at a significant level, then they should be allowed to kill
Nate,
themselves.
Why
I have-
why
So
can't
we
they
agree.
be the
So we
determinants
agree.
of that? Why can't they
Because
decide
I do
that?
because
Hey,
I do
let's
not
let
trust
Hippo
people to
jump
make
in
this
here real
decision.
quick.
Well,
I
it's
do not
not
have-
your decision to make.
Nate, okay,
Yes.
I have a counterpoint, a pragmatic counterpoint to your
Okay.
thing. People who are killing themselves, largely it's because they're depressed and sad, and people who are depressed and sad often are not very productive to society anyway. They're just sort of existing in life. They're doing a menial job, and they're just sort of slouching around and not really, not really adding much to society. I think the fact that we have like a population problem, like there's too many people on the earth for the resources. I think if people who are not really doing anything except existing in a sad state kill themselves, it doesn't really affect society as much as somebody who's really productive and great for everyone. Like, someone who's really making, a lot of good things happen. If he kills
if you're
himself,
arguing
then it's
for
really bad.
eugenics, what's the worst thing than people who want to fucking kill themselves and don't do anything? Shouldn't they be fucking gone?
And why are
When
we
I
even
say
discussing
I want
how
eugenics, I'm talking about the future, as in what we should do to breed people selectively, not killing anybody. Just about.
But why are we
moving
talking
forward.
about how it affects society as a whole?
Because that's
that
what the
doesn't
whole thing is
fucking
about.
matter.
No, it doesn't.
does
It's
matter.
not a
It does
social
matter.
question at all.
It's about the
you guys-
individual.
Okay, well, you guys are
like
are
always. This
too
conversation has gotten way
anarchistic.
too big and broad, as all of our
Yeah.
conversations do. We need to bring it back. The fact is, I'd be perfectly. I want less people on the planet, and I especially want less depressed people on the planet because depressed people are fucking annoying. This is a fact. This is an objective fact. I think that
That's
in
true.
general we give way too much benefit of the doubt and leeway to like depressed people or people who quote unquote suffer from depression or are suicidal because 9 times out of 10 they're just insufferable assholes. And like you can't help a depressed person. You can't tell them anything. Depressed people don't fucking listen to anything. They just want to be depressed
Absolutely.
and they want to
I
drag
completely
everyone down
agree.
with them. So I think
Sure.
that they should, if you want to kill yourself, please go away and do it. And I
Yeah,
want less
agreed.
people in the world.
Now, see, when we colonize Mars, we're going to need those people to ship off to just take up space there and build things. We're going to need this extra population. I don't want them to just die.
By that
we
time,
we
we'll
need
have
these
robots,
human
you
capital.
fool. We'll have little
Well,
robots to do it. And then the
that'd be
robots
good.
will get depressed.
But
Can
so we
we-
need people to build the robots.
Can we
need a
transition
lot of
into
people.
the monkey
Robots will
suicide
build
pool?
robots. Everyone will become robots, and then we'll be all. The only thing we'll have to worry about is how cute our robot designs are, and then we can
that'd be
design
something.
cute robot designs. I would like to be a little sphere
shout
guy
out to-
with a little eye like thick camera in the front.
Shout out to Near Automata with the cutest robot designs of all time.
Yeah.
Monkey,
Now, I
what
do
were you about
have-
to say to transition us? Sorry.
Yeah, did you
Chris.
guys still want to do the monkey suicide pool to predict how and when I'll kill myself and whoever is closest like wins a
After this
prize or something?
podcast, just to prove a point. That's
Oh,
my
let's
guess.
do it right here.
No, we have to do it now so they know, so that everybody knows. I'm putting all my money down. I would put
No, I meant
any
that was my
amount.
guess. He's going to kill himself after that.
Pretty good
I'm
guess.
how
putting
much money
all
are
my
you
money
putting on
down,
it?
dude, that you will never
I don't
do
have
it.
any money, so I'm
I
just
think
going to put my
everybody
name
should
on
put
it.
in like $20.
I would put down $100 that you never kill yourself.
Oh shit.
Yep, going all in.
That's a pretty
Well,
bold guess.
It's gonna take a
committing.
long
I'm
time for
committing.
you to
to cash in on
I'm
that
fine.
one.
I don't. That's fine with me. Cause see, as long every moment that continues to be the case, I'll just feel like I'm winning. So it's an extra boon to my
I
day.
can't let
I'm
Nate
still
win. I have
winning
to do
today.
it now.
I'm putting $100 on age 42 by
Oh wow,
way
that's a while.
by way of gun.
Right.
That's very specific, but
Okay.
That's the most popular way anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird to. I don't want you to die. It's not good.
But if you had to guess logically,
You don't have to
when you-
participate in this. I can make all the money and like
I'm
If my
not
only competition
participating.
is Nate,
just,
who made
I'm
a
just
non-bet.
commenting on the idea that we're just even discussing it.
yeah.
I don't like it.
okay, Jess.
I'm gonna put it all on whatever age you are currently. Suicide by arguing with me in the chat too much.
That's pretty much already happened.
Just so everybody knows, I will be cashing in on this at Mumkey's funeral. I will be like hitting you all up while you're all crying over his
Actually,
casket.
you know what? I'm not gonna cry over Mumkey's casket. Come on, don't be ridiculous.
No, I don't think Jess would even bother to come.
I would come. Someone would have to pass out like the party.
Yeah, you'll
favors
come when
and
you
the
hear that I'm
little
dead.
fucking- I'm gonna put it all on that Mumkey will never commit suicide. I don't think he's got the balls to do it.
You can't copy
he's
Nate.
calling you out. He's calling you out. You see, they know. They know. You're all talk, Mumkey. You're all talk.
all
very
talk.
little gunplay. What's even your history with guns and ropes and?
So is the
what's your
only
expertise
age?
here?
So
I don't
guess
believe you've ever seen a rope
42?
in your life.
We have Digi down for age 42, Tom for right after this podcast, and everybody else says never.
Yep.
I didn't say anything
So basically,
definitive.
so are we basing this on like whoever's closest? Like if you kill yourself at like 30, does Tom win? But if it's at like 38, then I win.
No, Tom
Wait.
was so specific with immediately after this podcast that I think if I do it tomorrow, Digi still wins. It's got to be like the closest without going over, like Price is Right.
Okay.
Can
that
I
sounds reasonable.
bet that I will kill Mumkey?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
of course.
Assisted
Alright.
suicide, like Sigmund Freud.
So if we're done with that, I do have one other suicide-related topic I wanted to address to the panel, if that's okay. If you
Please.
could force
Hold
any
on,
person...
I'm just thinking about me showing up at your house on your 42nd birthday with a stool and a rope and being like, Monkey, I need that $100.
I need that $500. If you could force, and this is going to seem weird with the word suicide, but if you could force any living person on Earth to
Right,
commit
right.
suicide, who would it be and why? And you can't say Ben Saint, that's too obvious.
Just one?
Yeah, just one.
Oh boy.
You got to pick your prime
That's like
target, I
Sophie's
guess.
choice for me. I'm trying to decide which person should
die.
die.
I'm surprised you didn't go straight for the Trumper just to make all your
He's gonna be out of here eventually.
No, too many
whatever.
people would be happy about it.
Yeah.
They don't deserve to be happy about
Is that your standard for things that are likely to happen? If so many people would be happy, it just will not happen.
it.
It's not going to happen.
If it's good, it won't happen. I know that much.
I have to
fucking
make
John Tron.
JonTron!
Oh, agreed.
What the
no,
fuck?
Well,
No,
just to
not
make
really.
the pain stop for the rest of us.
that would be good. I would like that.
No, I would not like that. I mean, I wouldn't like anyone dying except fucking someone I don't know. So just some random guy I don't care about. Yeah, I'll force him by pen. I'll find a pen pal and then force him by writing him a note saying, "Kill yourself," and hopefully he'll
I've got
do it.
one.
I can think
I
of a few people, but I don't want to name them on stream because it would just be cruel and controversial because they're all real.
Oh, is
I've
it
got a good
Victor?
one.
No, but I can think of several like real people who
Yeah.
I've interacted with that I'm like, if he was
Shane,
dead, I
could-
think
I
we'd
could
all be better
name
off.
Commenters and like anime avatars on Twitter right now
Yeah.
who I wish would die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've
I'd
got, like,
force
10 of them
anime
in
to
my
commit
head.
suicide.
He'd anime.
Nobody's going to opt out for David Clegg?
I want him
Oh,
alive.
yes.
I need more Clegg. I need more of the circus in my life.
No one fucking cares about Egg.
Egg?
There was this.
No, I don't
there
know.
was this very.
You know, there's people in my life who like I wouldn't want to commit suicide only because I would want to kill them myself.
Right.
Right.
Like put
right.
my hands around their throats and watch
Isn't this
the
a
fear in
way
their eyes
of
as the
killing
light
them, though?
leaves them.
This is like a death note, essentially.
It's like
Well,
a death note. You make them hang
It's
themselves.
kind of like the scenario is that the person you want to be dead, you just hear about them. Oh, you hear that guy committed suicide, and you're like, huh. Like that would be
Yeah.
most of the time. It would be you just go, huh, yeah, well,
Good.
back to watching anime or whatever I do. Like it's just
There's
it wouldn't
a
really
few
be
people
much of
I
an
know
event.
of who I would like it if they committed suicide, and it's not unlikely to happen. So, like, I feel like this is not even a hypothetical. I'm going to experience this in my life.
Thank
Is it
God.
me?
Is it Maddox?
No, Maddox doesn't seem suicidal. That dude's full of himself.
Yeah.
So nobody's opting for, like, people who are running prisoner of war camps or, like, ISIS leaders?
I don't
or...
know any of them. I don't know
Well,
who
the
they
thing
are.
with all
I don't
right,
have to know
You
their
said
names.
you
And
can
then-
only
then
pick
someone's
one.
just
How
gonna
would you
step in.
Yeah,
and,
how
and
would
that-
you
take
be
yeah,
their
able
place,
to pick
you
the
know?
one guy out of all those like big targets that would
I'm
make
sure
a
if you do
difference?
some research, there's, like, one
just like- I
ain't
modern
doing
day
research.
Stalin.
Get
Like if
outta
you kill,
here.
like it's like if you kill Trump, you just end up with Pence as president. Nothing changes. You
I
know,
wouldn't
like
kill
any,
Trump.
If you kill anybody in a position of power, there's just going to be the guy under
know-
them who
you
does
know,
the same
you just
thing.
create a
steps
power
There
in.
is one
vacuum.
person. There is one person who I think would make a significant difference if he died. I think if Vladimir Putin died, Russia would lose a lot of its strength, which would reduce its influence in the
Oh
world,
my God.
which might
This
put
guy's
America
talking
in a
about
better
fucking board
position.
games over here. Fucking Risk. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Talking about risk, yeah.
all right.
The kinds
I
of
don't
people
think-
the kinds of people I'm thinking of are more people who are just drains on society,
Yeah, exactly.
who are not offering anything and are only causing problems for people. And if they were gone, it would just literally make everyone involved's lives
Dr.
better.
Wolf is the
No.
one. There he is.
Oh no.
Well, you say that, but he's such a psychological fortress of a man that there's nothing you could do to make him ever commit such a self-harming act.
I hope he
he's
doesn't
too
hear
impervious.
that. Even though I don't
He will
really
never
care
hear
about
it.
him, somebody will go tell him
Well,
that I wished that he would be dead.
I'm convinced that everyone on my Kingdom Hearts video saying that they understand the fucking story better than I do is actually just one guy on multiple accounts. So if that guy died, it would really make my life much better, and we could stop pretending that there are people who understand Kingdom Hearts better than me. I've done the research, people. You don't get it. You do not understand. God, the thing, they say these things like they get it, but they don't. They're so
And while we're on
stupid.
that topic of commenters, because this is now a commenter cast, any
Right.
fucking person
Like
who,
every
fucking,
cast.
who fucking starts tweeting at me and like starts hurling insults and like trying to piss me off, and then when I insult them back, they tuck tail and act like I'm harassing them.
Yeah,
Anyone who's
yeah.
ever done that, you should definitely fucking kill yourself.
Jesse, it was just some banter on the internet.
you. It was just a joke.
Me and Hippo were saying how we need to do a Twitter rules PCP at some point.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's
That
getting
makes
to the
sense.
point where
Well-
it's becoming a thing.
I guess it could be like a bit different from commenter rules because it's
It would be.
slightly.
It's a different
It's basically the
platform.
same thing though.
I mean, we can use it to bring up things that we didn't mention in commenter rules originally. So there's things to discuss there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Twitter, Nate, do we have any Twitter questions for this episode?
Well, hold
Oh,
on.
we
I
most
don't
certainly
want to. I
do.
don't want to wrap us up yet.
Oh, I thought we were off topic so much that suicide was dead.
I think
I-
we can
We
bring
killed
it back.
suicide. We've
Yeah,
done a
I'm-
great service.
We've talked a lot about like suicide as a social construct and like the broad sense of whether we do it, but like again, everyone kind of laughed off when I said this earlier, but I do find suicide really fascinating, just in the sense of like it as an idea, like it's just something to think about a lot and to find an interest in. I guess because it's death. I mean, what is more interesting in
It's
the world?
I honestly legitimately think killing yourself is the bravest thing you can do. And I'm not saying
It
that
takes a lot of
ironically.
Have you ever-
balls,
mean it
that's for
I
sure.
know what you're
seriously.
saying. I know
Tom,
what
have you
you're
ever
saying.
asked out a girl before?
I
That's
have.
pretty tough.
I've asked out multiple women. I've never killed myself, so I feel like I just proved my own point.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair point.
It's
I guess
not
there's
easy.
a first for everything.
Yeah, death is sort of it's the one thing a living person cannot experience. So
I-
it's the
I
most
think-
mysterious thing in the world.
I think people should have a right to kill themselves, I guess, but I don't think it's brave or courageous in any way. I think it's
I don't think it. No, I don't. I don't think it's like. I think there's a difference between saying it's like brave versus courageous. Like it's not courageous, like something that should be like celebrated. But I think like considering human beings like and all like living things are like programmed on an instinctual level to like try and continue to survive so they can pass on like their seed and shit and like procreate. I think to like stare that like base instinct in the face, like no, fuck
yeah,
it,
but
and
we're,
do it anyway.
we're also programmed on an instinctual level to rape. Does that mean I'm courageous for not? Oh, I guess you're right. It does make me pretty courageous.
Hippo, to go back against what you just said.
Every day that I don't rape, I give myself a pat on the back.
I'm a brave fucking man for not raping all the people
There-
who I want to.
I would guess that there are millions of people on Earth right now who have attempted suicide. So we can't say that there are no living people who haven't tried to kill themselves.
No, I would never say
No,
that.
I
either. Clearly
wasn't
if
saying
people
that. I
have-
was just saying that the reason Digi finds it fascinating, the reason I think about it a lot as well, and Victor does as well. He likes suicide, thinking
Yeah.
about like the implications of it and what would happen. Like it's interesting because nobody fucking knows. Nobody could tell you what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just like the most untapped.
Yeah.
Bravely go where no man has gone before. Well, they have, but they didn't come
Right.
back.
I guess it's like, because the two things that fascinate me the most are suicide and immortality. And I guess it's because both of them are exactly that. They're both the unknown. They're the two things that, like, I assumably could never know. Because I'm gonna, like, if I think, okay, I'm going to live for, let's say, 70, 80, even 100 years, I can completely predict what I'm going to be doing in that time. Like, I can just say, oh, well, for the next 80 years, here's what, well, I meant 80 in total, not 80 from today on. But, like, if I think about it that way, it's like, well, you know, I can kind of understand where technology seems to be going, where the world's going to be going. Like, I'm going to eat, sleep, and shit. That's going to be my life, you know? I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing for the last 25 years for the next 60 years. But,
You know,
if I killed myself, it's a total unknown, and I'm assuming there'll just be nothing, but I don't know what that's like, you know? And then if I lived forever, that's also a total unknown. Like, you know, I don't know where the eventuality is going to take us. So I guess that's why those two things are so interesting, is that it's like, it's just a different world to think about, you know?
You know, the closest I've ever come to killing myself was the other day when I was reviewing my 401k account and realized I'm already planning for retirement and like the end of my life, and just thought, my God, my life is all mapped out. There is nothing new to be discovered here. That's when I was really like, there is no point in my existence. But then I pulled it back in.
I think the most interesting thing you could do instead of killing yourself, if you're like, oh, nothing new is going to happen, is just to take all your money and go fly somewhere that you don't know and just, you know...
I mean, I guess that's what a midlife crisis is that realization.
You know, that does bring up one of, I think, the most useful things to, you know, anti-suicide sentiments that I've heard. I don't know how well it actually works as like a pick-me-up because I've never been suicidal, but I imagine if I was, it might help. You said something about your life being mapped out, but of course it really isn't just because you're fucking planning for your retirement or whatever. It reminds me of a line on Game of Thrones when Tyrion says that he prefers life to death because life is more full of possibilities than death. Yeah. Like, anything could happen tomorrow. And it also, you know, a similar sentiment I saw once on, like, it's like a 4chan meme that gets passed around a lot of, like, a guy arguing against suicide. And this, like, random anon, he raised a really interesting point. If you're at the end of your rope and you want to die, then obviously you don't give a shit about anything anymore. So why not just fucking do something, anything? Go out and live. Yeah. Go get on a plane and go somewhere and start a whole new life. Instead of ending your one life, just end it in the sense that you're starting a new life. Go spend all your money on a plane ticket or some shit.
It's funny you bring this up because I was going to say that. There are a lot of times when I think about killing myself, it's like, oh, maybe I could just like go like full ham and just do whatever the fuck I want.
If you have nothing left, just build something new.
Pulling the trigger.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
I feel like that's just like the long way of killing yourself instead of the short way.
I think the biggest reason, like, I think most people who kill themselves when they're relatively young do it because they feel trapped. They feel like they can't reasonably escape this situation, but they usually haven't explored other options or just don't understand the other options.
Because kids are fucking dumb and they don't know anything.
You know, I think the best way to kill yourself is the long way, with drugs and alcohol and fast food and living.
Yeah.
If you want to die, if you want to die so bad, just wait.
Yeah, you'll get there eventually, and
you might have some fun along the way if you stick with it. You know, you never know.
I mean, I didn't want to present like too much of an anti-suicide message in this podcast because this is the suicide podcast, but like ultimately, I think that like the only kind of suicide that seems reasonable to me is when you're old, like when you're really old and you just like physically can't do it anymore, or if you're like, you know, if I was in a situation
if you're like crippled or like you're like covered.
Life is agony.
You're covered in like severe burns. Like someone said your mom was really fat or something, and you just.
If I was trapped in a body that could not move or express myself in any way and was just trapped there, motionless, I would want to die. Yeah. I would not want to continue.
I would pull the fucking plug on me. But like, if I always think as someone who calls myself a gonzo journalist, I always think of Hunter S. Thompson, who killed himself when he was in like his 60s, and he had said that like he always thought of suicide as empowering because it's the one thing he absolutely had control over in his life. He got to decide whether or not he dies. And so he didn't. I mean, he held on to it for a long time. You know, he lasted until his old age, and then he was finally at a point where he was like, "Well, I did it." You know, I mean, the guy, he had plenty of money. He did lots of things. He went around. He did every fucking drug known to man. Fucking, you know, drank every kind of alcohol he got. He did the fucking La Vie Boheme lifestyle. And finally, by the time he was 60, he was like, "Yeah, I guess that's it." You know, checked out. And I'm like, yeah, cool. You know, 60 years is a pretty good amount of time. It's a good bookended career of life, you know?
Sure.
Fuck retirement.
Retirement sounds like hell. I never want to stop doing cool shit.
What is retirement but just like waiting to die?
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, if you
It's the
can do it in cool ways, like my parents are getting ready to retire, and they've saved up a ton of money, and they're gonna like travel and do things. I
don't even see that as
travel?
I don't even see that as retirement. Like, like there's retirement from your job, which means
Right.
which can just mean I go out and start, I don't know, building things in the woods. Build a log cabin in the middle of the woods and live off the land. That sounds badass, but like if your retirement is like sitting in a home literally doing the same thing every day, like playing bingo and waiting to die, then like fuck it,
If your retirement is doing all the shit that you wanted to do for like 50 fucking years and only now you can do it, cool.
Fully
I
behind
guess
it.
that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's legit. That's
Word.
arguably better than what you were doing the previous 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I think people have an intrinsic desire to feel useful that can be a problem when they retire or something. I don't know.
Nate,
I don't
Nate
know if
brought
I
up a
have
point about feeling like people shouldn't kill themselves because on some level you do owe the people around you something, and everyone kind of shat on it, but I don't really disagree with them. And I was thinking, I mean, I do think that that generally most people should kill themselves because most people are bad. And I definitely would not want to discourage any piece of shit from killing themselves who wants to. Go for it. But and I do think that it's selfish of people to say, you killed yourself, that's bad for me because you made me sad. But on the other hand, I do feel like maybe you could have someone who depends on you, who you don't even realize depends on you, because you don't know who you're affecting. You have no idea the ripple effect. And I actually have a counterpoint to my point about how everyone should kill themselves, because I actually have a personal experience with this, and I completely forgot until just now. When I was 4 years old, my brother committed suicide. And,
Oh, shit.
I don't know. I think about it sometimes, like, how would my life be different if he were still around? Because I didn't know either of my brothers, because one of them died and the other one was so messed up from it that he sort of drifted off. So, is it fair to me that I didn't get to know him or either of my brothers? Is it, maybe that's why I didn't know my dad as well? He didn't. I don't fucking know. So maybe he had a responsibility to me and he checked out too early. I'll never know.
Do you know how old he
Jesse,
was at the time?
He was fucking 17, I think.
I
Maybe
agree
19.
with you here.
pretty
And
young.
like when Nate was saying that stuff earlier, I was thinking of it more in terms of just your parents and that like that idea that society gave you things but you didn't necessarily want it. But in terms of responsibility, I do think that like I always got pissed off. There was this book called The Awakening that we had to read in school. That was like this feminist book.
Oh, the feminist bit? Yeah, I have that on my fucking shelf.
It's about this woman.
It's his favorite book.
It's
I
about this
hate it.
woman who basically is unsatisfied with her life, and she's got like 2 kids. Her husband's cheating on her. She, I think, cheats
Oh, I know
back
where
on
this is
him, but it
going.
doesn't. It just she ends up killing herself at the end. And I just remember reading it, and like the way they present it is like her suicide was empowering or something, like that she took things into her own hands.
Smash that patriarchy, dude.
And I was
Kill
like,
yourself.
I was like, you've got 2 fucking kids.
Yeah.
There was no
Yeah.
way I could possibly respect this decision because those kids are gonna be fucked without a mom
See,
for the
that's
rest of their
definitely-
life.
the thing
There's
about like
definitely-
feminism itself, because it puts like not just feminism, but like a lot of SJW stuff is putting like individual liberties over social health and like the
Yeah.
well-being
Yeah,
of
there's-
society. And I don't agree with that at
I
all.
was just like, you know
like
what? Your
most
life
things-
sucks, but live for the fucking kids, because maybe they'll have an okay
If you
life.
got kids, if you chose to have kids, you have a definite obligation to those kids.
Yeah,
to
but this book
not
takes
fucking kill
place so
yourself.
far in the past, I don't know if she had a choice.
I
Nate.
mean, we're
Okay, well,
we've all
that's a
been,
real case.
We've
That's
all
a real
been
case.
presenting, arguments for or against, or like why it's okay or why it's good or why it's bad. But really, like most things that we talk about on this podcast, the truest answer is the simplest answer, which is that it's different in every single possible circumstance. You
Yeah.
can't say
Yeah,
for sure
yeah.
that suicide is okay or not okay because it's different. Some people are just shit and they deserve to be wiped off the earth and they should kill themselves. Some people don't have anyone and they know their life isn't going to get better, so they can kill themselves if they want. Some people, they might not even realize that people need them around, so they probably shouldn't. It's different everywhere, and I just think that the true moral of the story for everyone out there listening, if you're suicidal or depressed, is just stop being a faggot. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Stop being a whiny little bitch. And,
whether that
fuck you.
means finally do it or not.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Whatever stop being a faggot
Whatever,
entails,
whatever
do
to
that.
you feels like you've stopped being a faggot. Do that.
Someone in my life tried to kill themselves once, and I never thought that they actually thought it through in the slightest. I just felt like they were just having a bad day, decide to try to kill themselves.
Yeah, and people do that.
You know,
Some people do, like, impulsively.
and I'm not saying it's like that all the time. I'm agreeing with you. It's nuanced.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation.
Like, I've known
tried-
people who have told me stories from, usually from their teenage years, because teenagers are fucking mentally retarded.
They're
Stories of like how they just like impulsively said, "I want to die," and just started swallowing pills. Like, people do that impulsively and not even think
That's why
about
we
it.
can't. That's why there needs to be
Yeah.
obstacles in the way of killing yourself.
I
or
definitely
everyone will
agree
do
with
it.
you, Nate, that you can't trust people to ever make the right decision about their own
Thank
lives
you.
or anything else, because people are pathetic and stupid.
That's my main
Come to
case,
think
yes.
about it, we didn't even ask this, but has anybody in here attempted suicide? Because I did. When I was
did.
like,
That's true.
When I was 8, I tried the ultimate suicide. Some of you have probably heard this story before, but it was the greatest suicide attempt of all time, because I was getting bullied at school and I was really unhappy with it, and so I was crying, and I went up to my brother Shade's room, and he had this line of Beanie Babies all across the walls that were held up with clothespins, like these weird fat clothespins that had like little like nubs on them, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to suffocate myself. So I put a clothespin on my nose and then another one on my lips. And I was like, I'll suffocate
Impressive.
myself. Unfortunately, the clothespins were really painful and I couldn't, again, low threshold for pain. So I probably had them on for like 20 seconds and I was like, this hurts. And I took them off. But a suicide attempt is a suicide attempt, and they say that
Agreed.
if you've tried
Agreed.
it before, you're more likely to do it again later,
Oh,
and that
no.
knowledge has
Someone
haunted
keep
me
those
forever.
clothespins away from Digi.
Yeah,
Don't give him any ideas.
He's addicted to killing himself with clothespins.
yeah.
I have often, actually, now that I think about it, I've often committed the slow, draining spiritual suicide of asking a girl out and telling
yeah.
a girl that
Yeah.
I like her.
I think
That'll
asking a girl
kill you.
out
That
is the
kills
most.
the man.
It's the most fiery inferno a man can put
It is.
himself
It's-
through.
it's-
Trying to ask a girl out.
it-
If you come through alive on the other side, you are infinitely
It
stronger
is
than you
the
went
truest
in.
achievement of like the Buddhist ideal of like destroying
Yep.
the self. You don't
Exactly.
exist anymore.
One time I went outside in the cold
No.
and I had the idea to just go into the woods and stay there until I died. But I just got I was too cold, so I went back.
That's exactly the kind of thing I
yeah,
would have tried to do, or maybe even did and forgot. I don't know. It sounds like a very familiar scenario to me somehow.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't
like
mean
was
to
just
diminish.
really mad.
I don't mean to
Sad and
diminish
stuff.
the seriousness of those, but I like thinking about those examples.
You
I
should
probably
diminish
did
the
try something
seriousness
like
of mine
that.
because it's hilarious. Because it's an
Well, it's
8-year-old kid putting clothespins on his fucking mouth and nose because he thinks he
I mean,
can kill himself that way.
My dad told me about one time when he was a kid, he just like held his breath because he was really mad at his mom and just would not breathe for like, I don't know, like he
Yeah.
turned blue and eventually like passed out or gave up or something. But I
Good
guess
effort.
that counts. Yeah, it was impressive.
I don't know if
And
that's
that's what made his sperm retarded and resulted in Nate.
resulted in me.
resulted
God
in the
damn it,
best
Dad.
guy ever.
You just need a little bit of retardation to balance out
Nature's
this incredible
sperm
intellect.
retarded.
You have to balance.
I gotta pee.
well,
I'm going to the bathroom.
Why don't you go and we'll get to the questions and we'll
What
see
if
what's
he
going on.
committed suicide in the bathroom right now? What if he just died?
Oh, what a funny thing that would
That'd be a goof. I pray that he does. $20 that he does it. Okay, here we go. Here's I pulled some of the questions out ahead of time.
Well,
and put
before
them
we
in
get
a
to the questions,
separate
I just
thing.
want to make it clear that I hope that nobody in this podcast dies or commits suicide. Because I think
I don't
they're all
believe you.
really smart and genius. No, even Mumkey, who I
Aw.
hate like 40% of the time, is a genius and a wonderful creative mind who should
Jesse.
live forever, just
Just
like
no-
everyone
no-
is in this chat.
notice
and
how-
everyone
Jesse,
else.
Jesse, did you wait to
Notice-
say that as soon as Digi was out of the room?
I was going to make the same
This is
joke
a
about
complete
Ben because he's
coincidence, I
not here
swear.
right now. Yes, well done. Okay, let's get into these questions here. Here's a goofball one. KZ at KZ Snep asks, if you had to pick a spirit animal, what would it be? Everyone's thought about this question. I'd be a dog. I got a dog spirit
I think I
animal.
know Hippo's answer.
It's
a
a frog.
gazelle.
It's a frog. Frogs are cute.
Yeah, that's
and
what I was
small
gonna
and
say.
Funny. You weren't gonna say that, you lying boy.
Oh my! Most of us already have an animal like guy associated
Yeah.
with us. I just realized
Walrus? That's me.
Well,
I don't know what
yeah.
the question was, but
What's your
walrus is
spirit
my
animal?
that.
spirit
What's your
animal?
spirit animal?
Yeah, walrus is my spirit animal. Real quick, before we get too deep into questions, while I was taking a pee, I remembered this. I have some suicide advice for everybody.
Oh, right. I'm taking notes.
If you if you want to kill yourself, but to be able to leave money with your loved ones by taking out some kind of life insurance policy, do it before telling anybody about your suicidal intentions, because I legitimately cannot get life insurance because it says on my record that I have a history with suicide attempts. So my dad...
It's good to know.
Yeah, my dad took out a big life insurance policy on everybody else in the family, but he tried to do it on me, and they won't give me life insurance because they think that I'll kill myself.
How did they find out about the clothespins?
Because I had told that to my psychologist when I was seeing him.
I think the solution here is to just not bother with the bureaucracy of trying to get life insurance. Just go old school and bury all your savings in a chest and give your family members a map.
Send them on a grand quest to remember the
Hide it all in one piece.
Then endless Jess's family members from all over the globe began the great age of fucking suicide.
And it never ended.
Yes.
Well, it did when everyone died.
Well, fuck this animal question.
Wait,
it
I didn't
sucks.
answer it yet. I want to be a fox because I'm clever and I'm mangy. And everyone hates me because I'm stealing your chickens.
I want to answer too.
Fantastic, Mr. Fox.
I think the obvious answer for me is monkey, but I also have a great affinity for goats, and I want to live at the goat tower, so I wish I could be a goat.
Yeah.
Wait, I also like cats and dogs and lions and turtles and shit.
Monkey picking goats
snakes.
over sheep, you fucking traitor.
That's like incest.
Hey, why don't we do a podcast about all the animals that are cool instead of all this philosophical fucking circle jerky bullshit? Why don't we?
That's what you
That's a
said
very
last
good idea.
episode.
I want to I want to have fun with my friends, talk about cool animals.
I don't like
That's a good
animals.
idea.
We could
You know,
do
really,
that.
the
We could do an
suicide,
animal
really,
cast.
the suicide cast should have been an animal cast. Who better to talk about suicide than Colt Corona and fucking the hypocrite
That's
and
right.
the Tuscany Walrus?
An action-y giraffe who lives with a crippling disease every day of his life.
See, the thing is,
AIDS.
Who
if we
better
did
than
do
Brunswick, who literally can't stop dying?
if you brought me onto an animal cast, it would turn into a broad concept thing about how plants also have like different kinds of thought that humans just can't understand.
Is that what the walrus thinks about it? The plants have thoughts.
I didn't
Nate,
mean an
what's the
animal
next
cast. I meant a
question?
podcast
Please.
about animals.
Please save me from this.
I hate animals, so it wouldn't accept walruses. They're cool.
We should bring back
All
Animal Cast
animals
sometime.
except walruses. You're like
Hey,
you're the bad guy in Tusk.
There's a few other okay animals. Reptiles are kind of cool. Yeah, that's about it.
Demolition D's lizard's pretty sick. I want one of those.
Hedgehogs
Those
are
guys
fucking
chill.
sweet, bro. I want like two of those in
Hedgehogs
both
are
hands.
pretty
Fucking-
alright.
I want to hang out. I want to fucking
Hey,
juggle
I have-
hedgehogs.
I want
I have an
to get a
animal
couple of
fact.
hedgehogs together and watch them have a real dilemma. Know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? The hedgehog's
cut
dilemma.
off.
Oh, god damn it!
The funniest part of that, and now it's ruined. It got cut off.
Yeah.
You'll never
I
hear
said
destroyed.
I said I want to get a couple of hedgehogs together and watch them have a dilemma.
Ah, yes.
That was
it. It was
that's
better when it
what-
got cut off. I could picture
There's a-
whatever funny joke I wanted.
Yeah.
There's a new pond in my back garden, and all the frogs have come back, and they're in pairs, one on top of the other,
Oh,
fucking
man.
constantly.
Yeah!
All over
Frogs
the
are
place.
great.
Yeah. That's the
so
coolest
cool.
thing about animals is they just fuck all
Yeah.
the time with there's no like conversation about
God,
it. There's
I
no
wish
hitting
people were
on.
more like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every time I
yeah.
see that's the hottest thing about like animal girls, like anime animal girls, is they'll
I
just
mean,
like when
like-
when they give them the one property of animals that really matter, which is just a incessant desire to fuck with no prejudice.
I mean,
that's the best part of those.
You can create an atmosphere like that if you but first you have to get a girl living with you or move a bunch of black people into town. But you can't just
Yeah, I was
go
gonna
out
say,
into
just
the
pick up some
world.
jungle sluts.
Yeah, you can't just go out and rape a girl in the streets.
You know,
I've tried. It doesn't work.
That's like the whole thing with the anime cat girl, whatever, and then furries. Like the furries have got it the wrong way around. They got all the fur and the fangs and stuff, but they're just normal humans.
Yeah.
That's terrible. They
Yeah.
got the worst of both worlds.
I really like, on Digi's point, the minks in One Piece there's like this thing they do called Garchu. They're the animal people. They just fucking rub everyone all the time. They're up on each other all the time. They're rubbing and touching and groping.
The reason I brought that up is because I literally saw a Kimono Friends dojin yesterday that was like about this. Just this
Fuck
happened,
yeah.
and I was just looking at it, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. The concept of touching another living being is an extremely attractive thing that animals do a lot.
Well, except
yeah,
not other human
Anyway,
beings.
let's
move
we
on
get
to the next
questions?
question. Yeah, let's
Other
do that. Okay,
members of the species, we'll say.
Yeah, right. Here's a fun one. At JBudVA asks, hey, procrastinators, how do your families respond to the type of content you create? Do you feel they understand the full picture?
No. And they
My
never
parents
will.
don't
and
really
I'll-
know
yeah.
anything about what I do.
Oh,
They know that I make animations, but they call my give and take a blog, and that's what they say.
I
that
call my channel
I
a
have a blog. Well, I mean, kind of,
Gibbs
but,
is not like yours, Digi. Gibbs is
That's
definitely
true.
more.
They don't really. They don't watch them.
good.
They don't really know what's
good.
going on.
Right, that's the word I'm looking for. I only tell my dad like the business side of things ever, and he's real interested in that shit. But he's not. No, he doesn't know anything about any of this shit. Nor does my mom.
Monkey,
They don't know anything.
your grandma is in your videos,
Yeah.
and your mom has been in one where she was sloshed. How much do they know about it?
Whoa.
My mom refuses. They know pretty much everything, but my mom refuses to watch them because she doesn't like it when I cuss. But my dad actually is subscribed to both Mumkey Jones and Mumkey Jones 2. And he
Yeah.
often sends me very confused
He's not
text
subscribed
messages.
to Monkey's Countdown to Suicide?
He doesn't know about
No?
that one yet. I'm hoping he doesn't
Oh,
find
okay.
that one. But like
He's
when
missing out.
I might have said this before, but when he watches like my Elliot Rodger parodies where I pretend to be Elliot Rodger talking about how lonely I am and I want to kill people,
yep.
he'll like send me a text message asking me if I'm okay. So that's how they feel about
cute.
it.
That's really cute.
No, like he thinks I'm gonna hurt people. It's not cute.
That's cute.
It's
Hurting
funny.
people is so cute. I like that. Tom, what do your parents think?
They don't really understand. They're always just hounding me like, yeah, this is great, but when are you gonna get a real job?
Right.
Yeah.
And the one thing that kind of set the tone for how they thought about it was that when I got fired from my job in 2013, and I started Patreon and I got money, the first thing they said was like, oh, now we can take rent from you, and immediately took half my Patreon money for the entirety of like 2 years.
Lol.
So it's
Thanks,
good when
Mom
it
and
pays
Dad.
them.
So
It's good when it gives them money. Other than that, they just want me to
So
make
like
more money.
they didn't ask for rent when you had like a quote unquote real job,
Correct.
and then when you okay, that's bullshit.
why
That's,
don't
as soon as I got art money, they were like, "Well, we need
it's
to
like
crush your soul a little bit
it's
more."
like they felt the need to stop you from doing this.
We
Like,
need to
all right,
do
thanks,
a
Mom and Dad.
podcast on the topic of parents and why they should all
Yes,
be exterminated
yes.
and should not exist and should not be allowed to have any part of anyone's life past the age of 4.
Ben has a real good plan for this. It's where we take everyone's children, we harvest them, and we send them to a camp where they're raised independently with our best practices. Parents are kept separate. It's a different society between parents
This
and
is
children.
literally
and then when you
Brave
hit
New
18 or
World.
whatever.
That's
yeah,
what
that's what I
happens
want.
in
That's
that book.
That's what it should be.
My parents probably follow my stuff more than anybody else's in here, going by what I'm hearing.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, they don't watch any.
What a surprise! Digi has a great life, Lamau.
Well, my parents, like, they don't watch any of the anime content at all because they don't know the first fucking thing about anime and they don't care. But my dad loves
What
showing
idiots.
people my videos, particularly like the ones that are about explaining what anime is. Like, he'll always show people like what is the appeal of anime, like as his introduction, because my dad just really likes bragging about me, and so.
Sure.
He'll
Mine too.
like virtually anybody
I
who
have
my
the
dad
most autistic son in the whole goddamned world.
well, it's really weird for me because he shows my stuff to like everybody he works with, and so when I go to my dad's work, everyone there like recognizes me and knows things about me, and I don't know who any of them are. So it's always like kind of that weird disconnect of like everyone's looking at me like, hey, it's Todd's son, that the rapper guy. You know, now my parents are, because the anime stuff is hard to explain to people. You know, they'll just kind of show them a video and be like, here you go. You know, my parents don't watch a lot of it, but they do keep up with all the raps a lot more because that's something everybody gets is the music. You know, so like my parents they definitely like they both follow my SoundCloud. They both follow Generally, if there's a video I actually think my parents will understand, I'll post it on Facebook. Like, I'll go, hey, here's one for you guys. Here's one that's not going to confuse and terrify you, Yeah. But I think on some level they avoid watching a lot of the After Dark stuff because they know that it's stuff they shouldn't see. The stuff that's really, like, going to make them worried about me, I think they avoid because... Generally, when my parents hear something concerning about me, they bring it up to me, and I always try to downplay it as much as possible. They'll be like, "So we heard you were, worried that you're going to kill yourself in the next week," and I'm like, "It's a joke. It's a meme. I'm fine. That was 3 days ago. Totally different guy. So yeah, that's
what did your parents think of the Asperger rap on your SoundCloud?
I don't think they heard that one. Or they didn't bring it up because I don't think they knew what the hell it was about.
My parents
Nobody
are
knew.
not allowed. No one in my family is allowed to see anything I do. I find it extremely disturbing finding out that they've watched a video of mine. I don't want it. Mm-hmm. They don't deserve to. I don't like them. My father is the stupidest piece of shit in the world, and I don't talk to him, and so he doesn't deserve to see my videos. And my mother is a perfect saint. And so she especially shouldn't see my videos.
Yeah,
right. Of course. Okay. Go on. Finish.
Oh, nothing. It just creeps me out, especially when like I'm like recording and like they hear me through the walls.
Oh yeah.
That I can't.
That actually makes me want to fucking kill myself. Actually, come to think of it, that's the closest I come to wanting to not be here on this planet.
Anytime I'm recording and I like hear what might be somebody nearby in the house, I have to stop and like investigate.
Like when I'm in the kitchen at night and like I like walk by the living room or like I see my mom and she's like, "What are you yelling about down there? What are you talking? Yeah, it sounds like you're mad." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I want a shotgun in my fucking. I want to put the fucking trigger on my toe and go out like Hemingway. I don't want to be here anymore."
Yeah, Digi, that's why
Agreed.
Doing videos in this apartment is the most... I get a lot of anxiety from it because I share a wall with some dumb bitch neighbor who's always making noise.
That would
and I'm
not
like,
be
oh great,
able to handle that shit.
she's gonna hear me yelling about Mein Kampf today. I can't wait.
Dude, next time you hear him fucking through that wall, be like, "My sister is having sex with her boyfriend through that wall." I'm making an Elliot joke. That's
oh,
what he
okay.
did.
I thought you
Then he
wanted
killed
me to
himself.
like jerk off to the thought of incest.
Well, yeah. I mean that too, obviously.
That's not what Elliot did.
Well, yeah, wasn't he deeply disturbed by hearing his sister fuck through the wall? I'm not wrong about that, am I?
Yeah, because he was jealous that she was doing it so young while he hadn't even had a
Because he was
kiss.
jealous that he wasn't fucking his sister. That's I
Yeah,
can
that's what
relate to
happened.
that. I understand. Yeah, okay.
Dude,
That was a
Monkey,
subtext.
I am so sympathetic to your fucking plight of neighbors because that's been my whole life, my entire career, and now you finally understand why I don't have videos out every Monday and have never had a schedule like yours because it's goddamned impossible when people barge into your house and you can hear them stomping around in the other rooms. You can't it's a nightmare. I wish that everyone in my house were dead all the time.
Yeah, moving out of my parents' house was the worst mistake for my YouTube channel because at least then I knew what their schedule was and when I could record shit. But here, I don't know what the fuck this neighbor's up to. Seems like she's home at the weirdest parts of the day and then always making noise with her
Gotta get a
gay-ass
house,
music
man.
and
You gotta get a
screaming
cabin.
at her boyfriend to stop hitting her. It
people
never
don't know.
ends.
People don't know, but managing your recording environment is
yeah.
really fucking
Oh my
hard.
God. The
Very
fucking the
difficult.
worst ever was filming the horseshoe finale, and just because there was so much setup, I had to fucking put on the costume, I had to set the stage up and the lights and slick my hair back every goddamn day to sit there and remember those long fucking monologues and fucking have to. There was so much stress to get it right because I don't know. I might only have 10 minutes to fucking film all this time. I might only get one shot at getting this take right because at any time there's gonna be a whole fucking nigger party parade upstairs stomping around full of fucking teenagers and 20-something dopers and fiends up in my house making noise. It was a fucking nightmare. And that fucking, maybe that added to the rage in the video, so maybe it worked out for the best.
I gotta say, there's no escape from this either, because like you would think that I have the perfect recording environment. I have a super isolated
Which I do.
room way across.
I know
from
that you do.
I probably have the best you can get, but even here, first of all, recording during the day is really difficult because there's constant road noise because I live on a major road, which like doesn't seem to affect these podcasts too badly, thankfully, but like I can't do like a serious recording with that going on. But then recently like after Trump's inauguration, for like 2.5 weeks, there was just constant helicopters. For like seriously every day, for like 6 hours a day, there were fucking helicopters overhead. And that's when I wanted to launch all these vlogging series that I've been doing, all these daily, weekly vlogs. And like I just wanted to record like 6 vlogs in a row, and it was constant helicopters. So finally, I just made it a joke in the video that this is the only manga review show with a constant threat of helicopter noise, because there was no avoiding it.
Fucking Trump suppressing free expression. God damn it!
By way of
of increased helicopter traffic. Yeah, he's crafty. That one. He's crafty. Okay. What else? What else? Questions we got here? How about Oh, here's one by @MightyCleffa. I think we've taken a question from her before. What's the favorite piece of fan art you've received? And Jess, I know you're a big enthusiast for the fan arts.
Oh man, there's too many great fan arts to even remember her name. I just recently got that great one of me as like Fat Kamina, which was beautiful. I make a better Kamina than Nate. That was the most perfect thing I ever seen in my life.
I did love the fatness of it. That was beautiful.
And
that
then
was
like
beautiful.
someone then it took off like a meme, and more people like immediately started drawing me as Kamina. So I just usurped that
Horseboy.
from you. Yeah, me and Colt Corona. Boozy
It'll fade.
It'll
fade.
I'm sure it will. But there's always more. There's always new fan art to spring up. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. It's that dude yesterday just made me that cool ass fucking. It was that scene in Evangelion where Misato finds out that Kaji died, and she cries at the kitchen table, and someone drew me in that pose crying at the table.
Yeah, Ukrainian or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's been churning out fan art at Mach speed on, like, the fan Discord
that
and
was
shit.
beautiful.
Yeah,
That
he's
guy's
even made
nuts.
Shapeover fan art. I think Shapeover has
Yeah.
more than me now.
I deeply appreciated that one, especially because it's like such a weird specific like frame of
Yeah.
animation in the show that like no one would get the reference but me, so no one would see how cool it was. But it's super cool. And then there's this guy. There was one guy who followed me for a while called Spider, who kept drawing like panel cast fan art of like stuff that I'd rant about in the panel cast. He drew me
nice.
he drew me that as like a wireframe res man, like flying through my dimension of comics, which was to my fucking Radiohead music playing. Like, I'll just describe these inane things on the panel cast because I'm usually like insane for screaming about comics, and he'll just draw me as stuff, and it's cool. I got so much cool fan art. I got the best fan arts in the world. Every fan is bad except for the ones who draw shit. That's my
Agreed.
job.
We can all agree
Yeah.
on that.
I really like that fan art by that person who drew me in a dress with Nate. That was really,
that one's so
really
good. That's
cute.
that's Princess, or I forget her name, but yeah, Princess something. Oh, I love that so much. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, she was
I know
scared to
listens
post it,
these.
but I'm glad that she did.
Yeah, like she didn't want to post it. So I just asked her in the Discord, like, hey, you mind if I post this? I'll even credit you, but she said no. But now she's saying
It was
yes.
really
so
good, and
whatever.
she should have been proud.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, good job.
And all the podcast wanted posters are great. There's lots of fan art. It's just hard to remember. I
Idle
got a folder
Yokai
of
did
it.
some really good art of us as pirate boys.
Oh yeah, she
before.
does. She
you know
does
that one?
so much fucking cool shit.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great. She's great. Thanks, Sammy. I like your arts. We appreciate you, Sammy.
I could not possibly pick one because I've received like hundreds and hundreds of fan arts
Forget
over
that.
time. But I love that because it used to always be Digibrony the character, and he was very popular himself. And there's tons of great art of that character. But now that people just draw me, I fucking love it. Like, because they always draw me with the shades and like smoking or something, or wearing my big jacket, and like. That's my favorite. Drawing me with the cool shades. The cooler the shades and the trippier the artwork, the more I enjoy it. There's a lot of people will draw me like fucking evaporating into a mist of colors or something, and I'm just like, yeah.
Somebody drew a fan art of you and me, Digi, where like they drew me in a tank top that just said the word wrestling on it. And like
Yeah.
I want to open a store so I can print that shirt and sell it to people. It's the best shirt ever.
It's like the classic John Belushi college shirt, only retooled.
My favorite kind of fan art is anything to do with my Nuzlocke series, when people like draw the Pokemon that I have along with me, and I always play as a girl, so they'll draw the girl from the game but with the monkey head.
Yeah.
And
Ben did that right by having like the guest art, so he gets beautiful arts in his episodes every time. Yeah.
so I really
Ben
like
drew a
those. So if you
monkey
make
one.
those, don't be afraid to send them.
Ben drew a monkey blowing up Charizard that time, or whatever. It
Oh
was.
yeah, that's right.
Oh my god, I forgot the people they draw Vriska when I asked for it. I really like people who do that. Go draw that Vriska.
Somebody
me,
drew that
me and Vriska and
Florina
Hippo
the other
and-
day.
Yeah, I just asked for Florina, and that it was Kolopsik. He did it. He was cool. I like him. I like everyone. Everyone's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's
one time.
Don't kill yourselves if you draw.
One of these days, I'm gonna just invoke an ultimate power, because I did this once before in the early part of the pony days. A cousin of mine was having a birthday, and her aunt asked me if I could get someone to draw her a pony OC. So I made a main channel video asking for that, and I got 50 to 100 of them or something. It was just a million of the one I described. And so I've always known in my back pocket, if I ever really need 100 of one piece of art, that I've got it there, and I could just unload this onto the world and receive every fan art ever. So just everyone have your pencils ready for when I have this need.
Oh yeah, there
I
was
have a whole folder full of fucking fan art that I've gotten, to try and
Oh,
save it, because
You know what? Sorry, Tom. I don't know if you were gonna say more of that. Do you have more to say about that?
I mean, I was gonna go, but if you want to finish your point, go for it.
Well, I was just gonna say that I remembered that one of my favorite things that I completely didn't expect at all, that's been happening recently, is people keep making fan art of my fucking stories. I got a bunch of fan art of Tales from the End of the World when I released that. And then I've gotten a lot of it for this anime idea I had for a show called Omar. That I just made a video describing this show, and then I got a bunch of fan art for it, and I was it's brought it to life now. I didn't have a vision of it in my head, and now I do. So that's very cool.
That is great.
I was gonna
That is
say
great.
I got a ton of fan art. I got some good ones from Idol Yokai from about a year ago. Twisted Prism did a couple cool pieces. My favorite pieces are when people do art of my characters. I'm
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
matter, they matter.
Yeah.
So that's the coolest thing.
I'm always excited.
2D lives matter.
I'm excited vicariously to see Sorceress Lost fan art whenever I see it.
It's good.
Me
shit.
too. Hey, I want to give a shout out to everybody who drew pictures of my One Piece OC character that I described in that episode of the podcast a while back about the umbrella and the thing. Those were all great, because I've been saying in the episode for years I've wanted people to draw this character because I can't draw. I can't make a reel. I need someone else to do it. One day I'll get the guy who did the Steins Gate art and the Black Rock Shooter artist to draw it. That's my dream. I want that guy to draw it.
guy's
But,
art's fantastic.
Take?
I don't remember at all.
think
But
it's
everybody who
Take.
did that.
I'm surprised we haven't seen any fan art yet of Don Bracken from the Triflers.
Yeah, I'd like to see all the Trifler's characters chilling out in that basement.
There's less probably mental connection between a book character and drawing fan art of them. You know what I mean? Maybe something like that going on. I don't know. It
Could
feels
be, but-
there's a big gap in the artistic mediums there.
Usually with a book character, you need at least one canon image before people will start fan
I mean,
art
I don't
for
know.
him.
People drew a bunch of art of my story, and fewer people read that than read Mumkeys. So
Yeah, if you're an anime boy, more. I don't know. I
think it'll happen. We just gotta put the seed of
People
thought
are still
out there.
trying to read it.
Yeah.
If you say it right now, people will draw it. Just request it right now, and you'll get some shit.
Yeah, if
You'll
you've-
get
if
I
some
mean,
you've
I
read
think
the
only
Triflers,
20
then-
people have actually finished it. So what's the chances that one of
Yeah.
those 20 is
I'll
an
draw you
artist?
fan art when I finish it, but it's just so agonizing to read.
By the way, I also wanted to say I love people have drawn me with my waifus a bunch of times historically. Those are all great. My favorite one was that one day I was just talking on Twitter about how much I love Juri's design from the new Street Fighter V, and that leather tit covering is the hottest thing ever. That skin suit, and and then somebody drew just a picture of me with all my waifus, but it wasn't just the ones for my banner. They included Juri in that, and I just thought this person really pays attention to what I'm saying and gets it. So whoever that was. That big best guy ever thing, that I love that. And I also wanted to say I looked up the person who did the picture of you and me on the the wedding dress or whatever gave him. That was Uppity Princess at Drowsy Apricot.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was great.
I think the fan art I get the most excited about is always when it's something very specific. When it's from
Wait, I wasn't
a
done.
video
I wasn't done.
or something.
I also wanted to say, Drowsy Apricot, you are super cute. You should come over to my house sometime so we can get together and hang out and do just what men and women do, when they're alone together. So there you go.
Sex with the young.
Call me.
Sex
Call
with
me.
the young.
The young.
Sex with
Sex
the young.
with the young.
Sex with
This
the
girl
young.
is 24. She's not that young. She's
Yeah,
not
whatever.
that young.
She's too old.
About 10 years too old or so, I'd say. But
Too old
right,
for the
Gigi,
chant,
continue.
anyways. What's the next question? Are we wrapping this up? One more, maybe?
Yeah, that was 3
we've got-
questions.
Yeah, you know,
Are there
there's
any good
one.
ones that are worth reading?
Well, okay. Here's a question that is about what our plans were for the first secret episode, or the what's the word I'm looking for?
Oh no,
the
are you
other
gonna say how I
PCP.
spoiled it?
Well, should I? Can I read this? Do we want to spoil what?
Yeah, we
subject
should.
it's
I
gonna
already
be?
did.
we should.
Yeah, you
the,
did.
the first
All right, so here's
bonus
the question.
episode. Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead. Read the question.
Well, I was just gonna read their question, give them a thing. So at Mystic the myself music 2 asks, will you ever do Shrek versus Harry Potter? And the answer is finally yes. For the first bonus episode of the PCP, we are going to do Shrek versus Harry Potter, people. So if you want that shit, go give us $5 on Patreon.
Get on the
so you can
fucking
see
Patreon.
it. There you go. Go do it, everybody. It's gonna
We'll
be
find
hype
out
as
once
fuck.
and for all what's better, Shrek or Harry Potter.
The question
so
that
you
has
could
plagued
interpret that way.
mankind for ages.
I was thinking about it in terms of like battling as well. Like who's gonna win
Whoa,
in a fight
yeah, that's
between
way
Shrek and
cooler.
Harry Potter? Yeah.
That's actually
We're going
interesting.
to explore every possible
Every
way
aspect.
that this could be taken on this podcast. So make sure you give us $5 or else your life is worthless.
Who's a more powerful sidekick, Donkey or Hermione?
Doesn't Harry Potter fight like an orc in the first Harry Potter book?
He fights
He's like
a
in the
troll in Harry
bathroom.
Potter 2.
Oh, we're wasting all of our good material, guys.
Yeah, no, don't stop. Everybody stop.
This
okay,
has been
and
a
there's one
preview
final
of-
question.
Yeah, that's a little.
There's
trailer.
one final wrap-up question, which really is kind of actually the touchstone that we should have addressed in this episode long ago. And this was by who else but Idle Yokai. Asks, should I kill myself to reunite with my waifus? Yes. Yes, 100%. That's the best reason to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Every time I look through the
news.
noose, I can see all the Kaons over there, and I hear the beat from the song Paradise by me and Endless Jess and Blind Skywatcher playing in my head, and I'm just like, there's the real one. That's the real paradise over there.
This three-dimensional shell that we're trapped in just holds our 2D self. We have to set it free from this prison of a body that we live in by killing yourself. So, there you go.
Yep.
One day. And that's it. That's all the good questions. Keep sending questions, people, at TP Crastinators. Send them every time. Send them every day.
And
but especially on Saturday
remember,
when we record.
people, the most important thing of all before we wrap up this episode,
Subscribe
I'm
to
crapping
Monkey
my
Joe.
pants!
Oh no! Again! I can't believe the consistency of this man's shit. It's so thick and so common.
Goodbye,
Wow.
everyone.
We've done it. Thanks, everybody, for
Everybody
watching.
say
Let's tune in next
goodbye.
week.
Goodbye.
Bye.